So this is Cerulean Blue and Payne's Gray. Mix them together. This is for the windows. Window pane. Dark blue. Start at one here. I'm just going to put another layer. This is in a shadow area. Let's do another one. I think that one up there is the same. Yes. So this one here. That's okay if it's not perfect, because we're going to be putting the window frame around that eventually. So I'm not worried how it looks. So okay, let's make this blue as well. We have leaves coming over here. I'm gonna put some leaves from the tree. So it's just a nice kind of blue, a dark blue in here. And we will highlight this blue in the areas where there's light. Okay, so like here, we can highlight a bit. Let's take just cerulean blue. And add cerulean blue right there, the bottom, because we know there's light in here. There's a strong light. So we don't really need to have very dark blue. So I'm going to do the same. I'm just adding a bit of white. I take the same color, take a bit of white, put it in, and highlight this. Or wait for it to dry and then highlight it. Ah, that's nice. It will look much nicer when it's when the frame is up around. We don't need to do the same here because this is really in the dark area, and we still have a window down in here. And again, I'm not worried about those window frame or slats or anything right now, because I can put them on top after clean, like a nice clean. There's a window in here. I'm just gonna put some blue. Might be a curtain, but blue is fine. Let's put the door. I'm using cerulean and actually, you know what? I'm going to use cerulean and black. So cerulean blue, a bit of black for the door. That will make it more like a gray blue. That will be a nice color. So I don't think we need it to be too dark at first. Maybe a bit. Yeah, let's keep it dark. Let's keep it dark. This is what happens when you do the foreground before the background. You have to go behind all of those trees, but that's okay. I'm adding a bit of black in here with blue, and then because I'm going to highlight eventually, so I'm not worried about this being too dark. You can always fix the post. But this blue door is going to frame and show the post better, more. I am going to do that, and then you'll see once we put the post back on, you can see it. You can see the shape of that post. Right now it's very hard to see. Now, take white. So when I put white, I'm going to grab, this is cerulean blue and black. When I put white, I'm going to take a bit of more cerulean blue into that combination, so it doesn't look like it's gray. It will look like blue-gray. Here we go. And I can the highlights from here and make them look like random. So it looks like the trees are casting a shadow over the door right there. So when we highlight the tree in here, it will separate from the door. We'll see a separation from the door. Right now we can't see it, but once we highlight the tree, we'll see it better. I'm leaving a little bit of a line in between, very small, short, and I'm going to highlight this just in a minute. I'm going to highlight this part too, and I'm going to give the door a bit of detail in a minute. So this is acrylic, it's going to dry darker. I'm going to add a bit of white and then enhance the highlight. Let's put a bit of dots in there. Just pull down this highlight. I like to start with a light color, and then at the bottom I like to go a bit darker. Okay, it's good. And take one more and highlight the frame. Highlight the frame on this side. So what I usually do at this point, just make sure this is clean. Clean my brush. Grab more white. Put it in this. And then light is coming from this side, from the right. So, which means this part of the door at the bottom going to be highlighted. It will have light on it. This part of the frame, the door frame, going to be light. And I'm going to take a bit of black and just darken this. This will make the door look 3D. Okay. For the path, we're going to use raw umber, ultramarine violet, and a bit of white, or titanium buff, doesn't matter, one of them. We need to start a bit dark. And then first layers, let's go a bit dark. It's going to dry darker, but it's good to have a dark color first. And we are going to highlight it a bit. But this is a great way of finishing all of the canvas first layer where we see the canvas color, and then now we have everything kind of ready. Okay, gives us a good base. I'm going to do the same with the windows. I'm going to use raw umber, ultramarine violet, and instead of white I'm going to use titanium buff, because titanium buff is a nice color for the wood, the wooden part. So I'm just adding titanium buff to this combination. Let's put some. It looks very light. It's not that light. It's just the camera. And then I'm going to start from the window. My brush. Simple. This is going to be covered with the leaves, so I'm not worried about how it looks. This is a good color. Okay, let's pick up some. Good. Of course, it's not that light. Shouldn't be that too light. Windowsill. It will all look better once we highlight more. This is just Just a bit of highlight in here. All of this is going to be the same. These parts are all in the shadow area. So we're going to have the wood the same, but we will highlight just a bit later on. Okay. Certain areas in the details in that window. Good. Oh yeah, I think this column is highlighted more, has a strong highlight in there. And we'll just put it in a minute. I'm going to take a little bit of white, put it in here with the corner of my brush. A little bit more white. I'm simplifying the detail. What I would like to do is put the spindles. Okay, let's put the spindles in here. Simple. I could put them in with a round brush or with the flat. I think I'm going to use a round. It's better. Yeah, that's too big, too wide. So let's take a round brush and see if we can wet my brush, wet the paint, so my brush slides easily. Yeah, good. Let's darken this a bit. I'll highlight this. I always like to start with a very medium tone and then highlight. And we're going to keep those spindles very simple. I'm not worried about this because we're going to put flowers and greens and okay. Let's take a bit of more white and highlight this one. We see a bit, even if we see a hint of those spindles right there. And highlight this a bit because it dries darker. Take white, highlight top. Okay. Let's highlight this because we lost the shape when we did the door. Straight down. A little bit of a detail. This is tiny. Again. It will dry darker, and if it doesn't dry dark enough, then I can always tone it down, but it should dry darker. Taking raw umber, ultramarine violet, and titanium buff. And I'm just going to wet my brush, add more titanium buff in this. And then, if I remember correctly, that was just like a simple window detail. And that's why I like to do my blue of the window panes first, and then I add this on top. It's easier. I can control it more. So now I'm going to take actually same color and then go over this one more time. This window is highlighted, so it's good. I can see there's light on this window. Yeah. So now I'm going to take white. My brush still has the color I had before, titanium white, titanium buff, raw umber, and ultramarine violet. I'm just adding white to it, lots of white. And I'm going to come here and just put white on this side and this side as well, because the light is coming from the right. It gives my window more of a nice detail. And a bit here, windowsill. That defines the windowsill. It's good. This doesn't need any kind of detail because it's in the shadow area, and it's okay just the way it is. It's fine. Let's take the bright brush or flat, take raw umber, simple raw umber, titanium buff, and just come here and highlight the steps. And the walkway. And I'll be putting eventually some detail, stones on that walkway. Just highlight it a bit for now. I like to put stones on top later, makes it less harsh. And I'm going to use some blues as well in my stone. So I'm mixing raw umber and some of the cerulean blue, and just kind of put a couple. And I'll be adding more colors eventually. I'll highlight them as well. Smaller in the back, in the back, make back of the really small, and then bigger front. And not, and the back ones are not too defined. Just a suggestion here and there. That's probably great. That looks great. Okay, good. All right. More. Let's put some more. Flat, kind of oval, not round. Put them too round, you lose perspective. You lose the perspective. They should be kind of more kind of oval, narrow and long, and slightly bigger in the front. That's good. White, round brush, white with my titanium buff, and I'm going to highlight the stairs, just the top of the step. Let's put some more white. More white. Can't see it. And right here as well. Just the top. Sometimes what I do is I get white pencil crayon after, and I just put a bit more, enhance the color a little bit more, the white in there, or wait for it to dry and then highlight it a bit, like I'm doing right now. I don't think this needs to be highlighted, it's strong enough already. It's coming along, it's looking good. And we should work on this. I think that's enough. I just wanna kind of soften this. It's too strong because it's in an area that's kind of a shadow in here. All right, take white only now. Titanium buff, just tone it down, and then I'm going to take white, and I'm just going to put white only where light's coming from, which is the right hand side. It'll be better if I wait for it to dry, first layer to dry, and then put this. Just like that. Let's highlight this a bit here. And a little bit more down here or up here. Now the spindles in the, no, they're dark in the reference. They're dark. Now there's a hint of spindle in here, so I don't want to overdo it. But the spindles are dark. They're quite dark in the reference, actually. You see? They're really dark. All right, let's put a bit of a dark color in here. They go with the color of the actual. I know what I should be doing. To show them more, what I should be doing is highlight the yellow in the back, in between, and then I can see them instead of making them lighter. Okay. So this is Naples Yellow with a bit of white. I'm just gonna, okay, this is a little bit lower on this side. And I'm going to highlight the wall as well. So this is Naples Yellow and white. A bit of white. Don't need much. We don't need a lot of white with Naples Yellow. It's already light. But I'm just going to kind of push it in so it's not a sharp line, and let it kind of disappear into dark color. So I'll have a strong light in here and then becomes kind of softer going in. I can also use a bit of yellow ochre in here, mix it with my Naples Yellow and darken that. So this area right here, this area has yellow ochre and Naples Yellow right here. So you see now it's kind of medium tone. I'm pushing it back out. That gives me a beautiful kind of soft transition from dark, that's a strong line, that's okay. But here, this is yellow ochre and Naples Yellow, and then I'm pushing that into this part which has the Naples Yellow and white, and because both colors were wet at the same time, I could blend them, so I don't have a line in there. I have a really nice soft transition. This is like hardly touching, very soft touching the brush there. That's good. It looks so bright in there. Let's take same and then just go in and then add. Not add them, actually, just highlight the ones that we have already.
Magic thing.
We're changing the pathway, and making it less detailed using raw umber and white. So I'm decided to change from stone into a little kind of pathway with just texture, a little bit of a texture using white and raw umber. This is really tiny kind of pathway, and the stones didn't look that great, the ones I put. So I'm just gonna kind of go over them with my brush. Do this, pick white or titanium buff, whatever, and just go over it with some little bit of detail. I could put some blue after. I'll show you in a minute. Let's finish this. Let's mix it a bit with some raw umber. And then I'm gonna come here and just do random, quick. That's good. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to take a bit of blue. The blue that I was using, cerulean blue and white. Just put some blue in here. A couple of dots of cerulean blue. It just kind of makes it much more interesting. And a little bit of that yellow I was using, Naples Yellow or Yellow Ochre, just any. It just repeats the colors in the house. You could see the colors. Yeah, brings the foreground with the background. Connect them. And that looks like patches of light. Once we put the green, it will look different too. Right now we're just looking at this, but the green's going to come over this and reshape. Yeah, that's better. Much better. It's too much yellow in here. Since I'm working with this, I'm just going to I'm going to put the pot right there. So, burnt sienna. Let's do burnt sienna and a bit of raw umber for the first layer. I like burnt sienna, it's just lovely for a pot. Okay, lovely color. It will show in a minute. I'll put a different, okay, I'll add, you know what, I'll add platinum buff so we can see it right there. That needs another layer. The burnt sienna I'm using is Winsor & Newton, so it's a little bit more kind of orange color. There. So eventually we'll put flowers in it, and that will look really nice. Let's put a bit of white, and then come here, highlight this part. It's better if I wait for it to dry before I do this, because I'm gonna really mess it up if I don't wait. Burnt sienna with the Winsor & Newton burnt sienna is a little bit transparent, so it's not a opaque color. It's better to wait for it to dry before I highlight. See, I'm lifting now because I'm not waiting. Let's leave it to dry. And then we can add flowers in there.